Hi, Shayla here. Summer is underway, and I most times do during the summer, I start to think and reflect back on my past school year and how I'm going to make this next school year even better. And this summer, I've started thinking more about individual children and their needs. And I work in a day treatment school, so that encompasses children with ranging disabilities, and 100% of our children have an IEP or are in special education. And so, as I've been reflecting, I thought, man, I should do a little bit more research into each of these disabilities or each of these, specific needs that my children have, even though I already have the education and the knowledge of them, but I want to, further explore and really dive deep into them. And as I was talking with a friend about it, I don't know why I never thought, how can I make this connection with essential oils? Because I was already using them in the classroom for various things like helping calm us down, helping to balance our emotions, and different things like that. So, why wouldn't I target specific disabilities and see how that works, and even just growing my knowledge in it? So, I decided I'm going to start a series. I'm going to call it the SPED, which is short for special education. The SPED series. This is episode 1, and it's on anxiety and ADHD, because they are separate. They are definitely separate, and they have their own separate characteristics. But as I've like I said, been thinking a lot about my children, my specific children in the classroom, and I've kind of saw more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A connection or similarities between like the anxiety disorder and the ADHD. So I will first talk about the oils for each, and then I'll talk about the disorder and the characteristics of each disorder, and then I will talk about the oils and the effects of the brain for those specific characteristics. So let me get right in. So the oils, I kind of narrowed it down to 4 each. For anxiety, and this is not just your regular normal anxiety. Anxiety can be good. Anxiety can be really good, but that's kind of not the anxiety I'm talking about. I'm talking about an anxiety disorder. But of course, you can use these for just your regular normal anxiety that some people have. So for anxiety, top 4: serenity, balance, lavender, peace. And these are all from doTERRA that I'm referencing. So serenity, balance, and then lavender, and peace. This is a good one. Peace, I diffused a lot in my classroom this last year. And also balance, I diffused a lot. So those are 4. For the ADHD, there's, again, top 4 that I kind of picked out for various reasons, but most specifically for the top characteristics of the disorder. So we have vetiver, which is a good one, motivate, and then the similar one to the anxiety. Again, lavender and peace for ADHD. All right. So let me talk about the disorder characteristics. So like I said, they have similar characteristics between the two of them. Those would be, for anxiety and ADHD, they both, you have a difficulty concentrating or paying attention. There's an inability to relax, to calm, and then there's this restlessness. And that's with both of them. Those are the similar characteristics between both. For anxiety specifically, now anxiety is a nervousness and a fear. I always like to make this comparison in my brain, and when I'm thinking about it, a person who is overly anxious has a fear of what's in the future and what the future holds. A person with like depression is focused more on the past and what has already happened. So anxiety is nervousness and fear, and it's a fear without any cause. There's no reason for the fear. It's there. And there's also a fear of trying new things. Those are two big fears that a person with anxiety would have. There's also chronic nervousness, constantly nervous. Like it's a continuous, very common throughout the whole day. And irritability, trouble sleeping, and headaches come with anxiety. For ADHD, the characteristics are trouble completing tasks. Now, here's the thing with ADHD that I try to explain to a lot of people as well, that I've already, ever since I got into special education. ADHD isn't that you can't focus. It's the idea that you're focusing on everything. You are focusing on a buzz of the lights. You're focusing on noises outside the room. You're focusing on the noise of someone coloring with a pencil or a marker. Sometimes those make noises. And a person with ADHD, they can't control that. They can't distinguish. They can't filter out those things. Their brain just can't filter out, so they're taking it all in, and it's very overwhelming. So they have a trouble completing tasks because their brain is just bombarded with these things. There's a lot of forgetfulness because they have so much to process and so much to try to filter and work, that there's a lot of forgetfulness. There's difficulty listening and following directions. Again, that comes with just the bombardment of noises that are going on. Inability to focus for long periods. Again, they get very tired, the irritability, because it's just too much. It's overwhelming. So those are the disorder characteristics of each, anxiety and ADHD. And so the way that the oils then help is they target the certain things in the brain. Right, and I've talked about that in past videos as well. So the direct correlation or the direct link to the limbic system in the brain is through your sense of smell. And so if you are smelling whatever it is that you're smelling, it goes directly to the limbic system after it hits the base of your brain, where all experiences come in. It goes directly to that limbic system. So that's where you want to target a lot of the healing properties that play into the essential oils, or the essential oils, play into, so that you're able to focus better, you're able to calm the brain, you're able to be able to filter out some of the constant bombardment of noises, or the constant bombardment of thoughts, things like that. So the oils they're like reprogramming the cells. They're reprogramming. They are kind of, best way I can describe it is like if your senses are going down a road or going down a path, and they get too overwhelmed or too bombarded. It's like the essential oil, the smell, the scent, the specific one will be like that roadblock to stop it from going off into the wrong direction and having a negative reaction to a more positive one. And it's going to allow more positive energy, positive reactions in, so that the negative doesn't happen. It brings the whole body, the whole brain back to a homeostasis, which is what ideally we want. Ideally, that's what we want. We want to have this balance of things. So the serenity for anxiety, the serenity is the restful blend. And again, I use this a lot with sleep. I tag team it with lavender a lot to help calm. It's a calming, restful oil. It has a lot of properties for that. And the balance is a grounding blend. And so the balance is what's going to stop the negative and help push it back to that homeostasis, that balance of things. The peace is the reassuring blend. So with anxiety, it's going to tell the brain, you're okay, everything is fine. It's going to help with those fears that come with anxiety and the nervousness. Because, when you're nervous, it's because you don't know what outcome is coming. You don't know what is, coming up next. So that peace is going to help bring back some reassurance and help with that. And then it goes, the lavender and the peace go onto the ADHD side as well, whereas the peace is going to help calm down the overbombardment, the overwhelming things that are the overstimulus that's coming in. And the lavender, again, is also going to help with that. Lavender has a lot of those peaceful properties as well, the calming properties. But the vetiver is kind of like the powerhouse, I like to call it. I just started using this more in my own home and diffusing it and wearing it as well to help just calm some. I've been using it to what I thought was anxiety, helping to just calm me and get rid of some fears. But as I was doing my research and digging deeper into it, it's for ADHD, it's for attention and things like that. Maybe, the inability to focus, maybe it's helping with the focus. But I do know it is very helpful. It's helpful in sleep as well. And then the motivate is the encouraging blend for ADHD. Again, it was one of the ones that came up for ADHD. And I have a previous video about the motivate blend that I tried for a week. And it did kind of, motivate me. And you can see it in the other video if you choose after this. But it does help with, helping to get things done. And that's one of the things, that one of the big characteristics of ADHD is an inability to complete tasks or a struggle to complete tasks. And this motivate blend is going to help. I also, as I kind of been, was researching and reading and doing a lot of this stuff, I kept thinking, man, there's another oil that I use for some of these things that, I sometimes struggle with, but on not like an over struggle, but, just, your daily struggles of things, was bergamot. I use bergamot a lot for some of these things. Number one thing I use it for is sadness. It's good for sadness. But bergamot is also, the top uses for bergamot are for addiction. But the other two underneath that are insomnia and stress. And now stress can be a good thing. When we have stress actually stimulates things in the brain that are good stress. But when it's a toxic stress, when it's causing the brain to function too much and have to work too much and start sending some negative toxicity, negative properties into the cells, that's when it starts to do some damage. And when a cell is damaged, a brain cell is damaged, then it kind of like closes off and it doesn't allow the toxins to get out, and it doesn't allow positive to get in, and it just kind of like it hardens. It gets a shell around it. So I've been using bergamot a lot for different stresses like sadness and anxiety. Public speaking, they say to rub bergamot on your earlobes, things like that. So that's why I kept thinking with anxiety and ADHD, man, bergamot should be on the list. And maybe bergamot is in some of these blends that I mentioned, but I like the smell of it too. I think it's delicious. But so yeah, I would throw bergamot in there. And as I was researching and reading, I thought, man, if I could do a powerhouse for each, this is what it would be. So for anxiety, a powerhouse blend for anxiety, and smell as well. Like I'm big on the way the oils smell together. I love to do peace and balance. I've been doing peace and balance together in my classroom, but I may add peace, balance, and serenity. Those three I may add all together as a powerhouse blend. And then for anxiety, and then for ADHD and trouble focusing, I would probably do the vetiver and the peace and the bergamot together. I would do those as like a powerhouse blend to combat some of the inability to focus, to combat some of the forgetfulness and difficulty concentrating, things like that. So this is episode 1 for my SP.ED series on anxiety and ADHD. So I look forward to doing some more after this. I have on my list to do oppositional defiance disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, emotional trauma, and possibly maybe bipolar. And these are all some of the disabilities that I have in my classroom most times. And then again, there are also, things that not just children deal with as well, but, adults deal with them too. And we may not deal with them on such an extreme level, or we may. So I hope this was helpful. I look forward to doing more videos, and hopefully you see me soon. All right, thanks.